My dear child, do not leave yet, before the noise returns, before another responsibility calls your name, before you hide this ache beneath another busy hour. Pause and listen. I am speaking to the place where hope and heartbreak have been meeting inside you. You believe I restore. You believe I heal. Yet you are carrying a question you have been afraid to say aloud. What if what I lost cannot return? What if the person you loved will never sit at the table again? What if the season you keep revisiting has truly ended? What if your health has changed the shape of ordinary life? What if the home you miss belongs to yesterday, the relationship remains distant, or the opportunity passed while you were still praying? I see the empty chair. I see the photograph no one wants to move. I know why a birthday can make your chest feel heavy, why an anniversary can turn an ordinary morning into a room full of memories. I know the medical words that divided your life into before and after. I know the silence between family members who once spoke without fear. My beloved child, you are not faithless because the loss still hurts. You are not forgotten because your old life has not been rebuilt. You are not disappointing me when you admit that some endings cannot be reversed by stronger declarations or more determined pretending. Not every breakthrough arrives as a dramatic return. Sometimes the first breakthrough is the moment your heart no longer has to deny what happened. Sometimes it is one full breath after months of living with your body braced against sorrow. Sometimes it is the strength to rise, wash your face, open the curtains, and receive today without demanding that it resemble yesterday. As it is written, I am making all things new. New, my child, not false, not forgotten, not erased. I can create something new without asking you to pretend that nothing was lost. I can lead you forward without removing the love, memory, or sorrow that proves something precious once lived there. Now take a slow breath. Let your shoulders drop. Loosen your hands. You have held this story tightly because you feared that opening your hands would mean letting it disappear. It will not disappear from my sight. Say this quietly. Father, I will tell you the truth about what I lost. Again. Father, I will tell you the truth about what I lost. This is not unbelief. This is where honest healing begins. And before I show you how a new future can grow, the next step is to name the ending you have been softening, spiritualizing, or trying to outrun. My beloved child, I already know what happened. You do not have to make it smaller in my presence. You do not have to call devastation a disappointment or describe a deep wound as merely a difficult season. I can hold the whole truth. Perhaps you are grieving someone whose voice you will not hear again in this life. Perhaps hardship consumed years you cannot recover. Perhaps your health changed, and simple tasks now require planning, patience, and help. Perhaps you longed for a child who never came, left a home you cannot return to, or watched distance settle into a relationship that cannot be repaired by your willingness alone. Perhaps an opportunity passed, and its season has truly closed. These losses are not the same, beloved one, and I will not flatten them into one easy explanation. But I know that a great loss rarely takes only one thing. You did not lose only a person. You lost the routines, conversations, and future moments you expected to share. You did not lose only your health. You lost spontaneity, confidence, and the version of yourself who moved through life without calculating every demand. You did not lose only a home. You lost familiar streets, nearby faces, and the place where your memories knew where to rest. You did not lose only an opportunity. You may have lost income, community, identity, and the future you had already begun to imagine. I see how you still function. You answer messages, you finish your work, you prepare meals, care for others, sit in traffic, pay bills, and smile when someone asks whether you are doing better. Yet beneath these ordinary acts, you carry a story few people have heard without trying to correct it. Do not use another person's testimony as a weapon against your heart. Their reconciliation does not create a deadline for yours. Their healing is not a formula you failed to follow. Their pregnancy, homecoming, or sudden opportunity does not prove that I have overlooked you. And listen carefully, my child. Not every loss was your fault. Some came through circumstances you could not control. Some came through another person's choices. Some include decisions you genuinely regret. Where confession is needed, confess. Where repair remains possible, act with humility. But endless punishment cannot rewrite yesterday. Shame cannot travel backward and rescue what was lost. Now picture the room, the date, the object, or the unfinished conversation connected to your grief. Look beneath the first answer. What do you miss most? The person, the safety, the belonging, the future, or who you were before everything changed? Say this slowly. Father, this is what ended. This is what it took from me. This is what still hurts. Naming the ending does not give it authority over your future. It gives your grief a truthful place from which healing can begin. And now we must face the fear hiding beneath that honesty. The fear that accepting what ended means giving up on me. My beloved child, I know the question trembling beneath your honesty. If I accept this, am I saying you cannot act? If I stop asking for the old life to return, am I betraying hope? Listen carefully. Acceptance is not calling the loss good. It is refusing to call the loss unreal. Surrender is not approval. Lament is not rebellion. And acknowledging an ending is not the funeral of your faith. You have sometimes confused faith with holding one picture so tightly that no other future could enter your imagination. You believed that trusting me meant insisting upon one outcome, one person, one timeline, one reconstruction of everything that broke. But faith rests in who I am. Control demands that my goodness arrive in the exact form you have chosen. I am not correcting you harshly, my child. I know why your hands became clenched. That old picture gave shape to your hope. It helped you endure nights when nothing made sense. But now the picture has become a door you keep trying to reopen, even though I am standing beside you with grace for a road you have not yet seen. As it is written, I am near to the brokenhearted. I did not say you must hide your brokenness before drawing near. Scripture is filled with tears, mourning, questions, and prayers spoken from the depths. My faithful ones did not always come with polished declarations. Sometimes they came with trembling voices. Sometimes they asked why. Sometimes their only offering was sorrow. Bring me that offering. Do not rush from grief to celebration, because you fear silence will expose weak faith. Let the tears come. They are not interrupting your prayer. They may be the prayer your heart has been trying to speak. When I say, I make all things new, I am not promising to arrange every former piece exactly where it once stood. Newness may look like a heart learning to trust again. It may look like identity rebuilt after loss, a path opening where the old road ended, or beauty growing among ruins that remain part of your story. I can restore joy without returning every relationship. I can renew strength without restoring every former ability. I can awaken purpose without reopening every missed opportunity. These promises are real, beloved, but they are not permission to guarantee a particular outcome that I have not guaranteed. Now look at your hands. If they are clenched, let them loosen. Open them slowly. Open hands can still ask boldly. Open hands can still believe deeply, but open hands allow me to decide what healing will become. Say this, Father, I do not call this loss good. I call you good, even here. I release the demand that healing must look like returning. Pause it. Breathe. If tears come, let them come. You do not have to prove anything in this moment. Faith can stand beside a grave. Faith can sit before an unanswered message. Faith can inhabit a permanently changed body and still declare that sorrow has not exhausted my goodness. Now that acceptance is no longer confused with defeat, the next step is to understand what restoration can mean when neither replacement nor reversal is possible. My beloved child, listen to this correction with tenderness. A new person is not a replacement for the one who died. A new home does not erase the pain of displacement. A new opportunity cannot return the years that passed, and renewed purpose does not make the wound imaginary. Do not force every new gift to compete with what you lost. Do not measure each new relationship against the one that ended, each unfamiliar room against the home you remember, or each emerging dream against the future you once expected. When you demand that the new compensate for the old, even blessings begin to carry a burden they were never meant to bear. Restoration is deeper than replacement. Sometimes restoration begins where no one else can see it. It begins when your thoughts become steadier. It begins when memory no longer controls every decision. It begins when you can receive kindness without immediately expecting it to disappear. It begins when you can speak honestly, choose wisely, imagine tomorrow, and recognize that what happened to you did not reduce your worth. My child, suffering tried to steal more than circumstances. It tried to silence your voice. It tried to make trust feel foolish and tenderness feel dangerous. It tried to convince you that joy would always be followed by punishment. It tried to turn one painful chapter into the definition of your entire identity. But the wound is not your name. I may not restore the old arrangement, but I can restore your ability to live. I may not erase the scar, but I will not let the scar name you. I can renew courage where fear settled. I can restore sleep where anxiety kept watch through the night. I can awaken prayer where disappointment produced silence. I can breathe life into creativity, concentration, hope, and the capacity to love with wisdom. Receive what is new for what it is, beloved one. A new friendship does not have to imitate an old bond. A new purpose does not have to justify the suffering that preceded it. You do not have to claim the loss was secretly good before you are permitted to receive goodness again. And where a relationship has been damaged, remember this: reconciliation is not created by longing alone. It requires truth, repentance, safety, and responsible change. Forgiveness can release your future from the control of the wound, but forgiveness does not require you to rebuild trust where honesty and safety remain absent. Not every relationship will return, yet no relationship has the right to govern every season that follows. Now pause. Do not picture the external scene you want recreated. Look within. Name one capacity pain tried to take from you. Was it trust? Courage? Sleep? Focus? Prayer? Creativity? Tenderness? Hope? Place your hand over your heart and say, Father, restore in me what pain tried to silence. Teach me to receive what is new without pretending it is the same. That is restoration, my child. Not substitution, not denial, but life returning to places sorrow tried to close. Yet when life begins to return, another fear may rise. Relief can feel like disloyalty, joy can feel like betrayal, and that hidden guilt is the next burden we must bring into the light. My beloved child, I saw the moment laughter escaped your lips, and guilt immediately pulled it back. I saw you enjoy one peaceful afternoon, then wonder whether you had become careless with the memory of what was lost. I know why the thought of loving again, dreaming again, or building again can feel as though you are declaring the former love less real. Beneath that guilt is a vow you may never have spoken aloud. If I remain wounded, I remain loyal. If I move forward, I leave them behind. If I become happy again, perhaps what I lost did not matter enough. My child, release that vow. Pain is not the only evidence that love existed. Permanent suffering is not the price of faithful remembrance. You do not honor what was precious by refusing every good thing that comes afterward. Moving forward is not the same as dismissively moving on. Moving forward does not mean closing the old story as though it were unimportant. It means carrying the truth of what mattered into a life that must continue. Picture a lamp glowing in a room you once called home. When you carry that lamp into another room, you do not destroy its light, you extend it. You allow what illuminated yesterday to help you see where your feet must step today. Beloved one, you do not have to remain inside the old room to preserve the light you receive there. A widow or widower can form a new bond without replacing an irreplaceable person. A displaced family can create belonging in another place without denying the ache of home. A person living with changed health can discover a gentler rhythm without pretending the former freedom was insignificant, and you can release a dream whose season has ended while carrying forward the courage, service, love, or purpose that made the dream meaningful. I know joy may feel unsafe at first. Loss trained your heart to brace itself. Peace enters, and fear whispers. Do not trust it. Affection arrives, and memory warns. You know what it cost to lose. This guardedness helped you survive days that overwhelmed you, but it does not have to become your permanent identity. Now let your shoulders fall. Unclench your jaw. Place your hand over your heart and breathe slowly. Say this: I do not have to suffer forever to prove that it mattered. Again, beloved, I do not have to suffer forever to prove that it mattered. I am not asking you to forget yesterday before receiving today's bread. I am not asking you to erase an old love before accepting present companionship. Receive this moment of mercy. Receive this breath. Receive this small peace without apologizing. What you loved can continue bearing fruit through you in your tenderness toward the hurting, your wisdom with the vulnerable, your service to the lonely, and your courage to love while knowing life is fragile. Healing does not betray love. Healing gives love another way to speak. But permission to live does not make grief predictable. Even after peace begins to return, sorrow may enter through an ordinary door without warning. The next step is learning how to meet that returning wave without believing you have lost all the ground you gained. My beloved child, grief may return through an ordinary door. A song begins playing while you are driving, and suddenly your hands tighten around the steering wheel. A familiar scent drifts through the kitchen, and for one breath, the past feels present again. A name appears on a screen. You notice the empty seat at a family gathering. A holiday arrives, or a milestone comes, and the absence feels new. Do not be ashamed. Grief does not travel in a straight line. It can grow quiet for weeks, months, even years, then rise when memory meets a date, an object, a place, or a change in your life. My child, the return of pain does not mean you have returned to the beginning. You may hurt deeply today, but you are not who you were at the first impact. You now possess language you did not have then. You may have people you can call, prayers you can whisper, boundaries that protect you, and practices that help your body settle. A wave can cover your feet without carrying away every step you have taken. I know the milestones no one warned you about. You may reach the age someone you loved never reached. You may watch another person receive the opportunity you once expected for yourself. You may enter a wedding, graduation, birthday, or family meal, and feel both gratitude and absence sitting beside you. Beloved one, prepare without allowing fear to govern the calendar. If a difficult date is approaching, reduce what you can. Tell one trustworthy person. Make space to rest, remember, pray, or step away when necessary. Do not command yourself to feel only one emotion. You may laugh and cry in the same hour. Neither response makes your love false. And listen carefully. Prayer does not forbid support. Community does not compete with faith. If grief, trauma, depression, sleeplessness, or physical distress begins overwhelming your ability to function, receiving appropriate professional care can stand beside prayer and trusted companionship. You do not have to prove spiritual strength by suffering alone. When the wave comes, pause. Notice your body. Is your chest tight? Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders rising? Breathe slowly. Name the memory. This song reminds me of them. This day reminds me of what did not happen. This room reminds me of the life I had. Let tears come if they come. Ask gently, what do I need today? Perhaps you need quiet, food, sleep, prayer, a walk, or the voice of someone safe. Do not make permanent conclusions about your future while sorrow is at its sharpest. Now say this. This pain is visiting. It is not reclaiming my whole future. I can miss what was and remain present to what is. Grief changing shape is not forgetting, my child. It is your heart learning to carry, enduring love without being crushed by its full weight every day. And when grief is allowed to return without ruling the whole story, memory can become more than a wound. The next step is to let remembrance become a living source of meaning, love, and faithful action. My beloved child, now ask a gentler question. What did the person, place, season, ability, or dream you lost reveal to you? Did it teach you something about love, courage, belonging, justice, creativity, or faith? Did it show you the kind of home you wanted to create, the kind of friend you wanted to become, or the kind of tenderness the world needs? For a long time, you have asked, how can I get it back? Today, let the question change. What can I faithfully carry forward? I am not demanding that you extract a lesson from every tragedy. I am not asking you to explain the unexplainable or call devastation necessary. Some questions will remain unanswered. But even where answers are absent, love can still take form. Speak the person's name. Tell the story others may not know. Record the family memory before time softens its details. Write honestly about what happened, not only the ending, but the ordinary moments. The familiar joke, the meal shared in the kitchen, the advice given in the car, the kindness no one else witnessed. Tell the younger ones what mattered and why. Create a ritual if it helps your heart remember. Prepare a meaningful meal, visit a familiar place, light a candle, mark an anniversary with quiet prayer. Place a photograph where it brings warmth rather than obligation. A small act can tell your heart, this mattered, and it still has a place. Let remembrance serve others when you are ready. Sit with someone facing a similar loss. Support a cause connected to what you endured. Mentor someone who needs the wisdom suffering taught you. Make your home gentler because you know what unsafe silence feels like. Become the compassionate presence you once needed. And create, beloved one. Let music hold what speech cannot. Paint, write, garden, build, gather photographs, or make one object that gives memory a place to rest. You do not have to force grief to explain itself before giving it a form. Do not carry remembrance alone. Choose people who can listen without correcting your sorrow, rushing your healing, comparing your story, or demanding closure. The right community will not erase grief. It will help you bear it. Listen carefully. You are not required to say the loss happened for a beneficial reason. Beauty can rise among ruins without calling the destruction beautiful. Service can emerge from suffering without making suffering sacred. I can bring fruit from wounded ground without asking you to praise the wound. Now pause. Name one thing worth carrying. Perhaps it is generosity, courage, hospitality, truth, creativity, faith, or tenderness. Then choose one simple way to carry it this month. Say this: Father, show me how love can continue to bear fruit without asking me to recreate what is gone. Remembrance can hold sorrow in one hand and gratitude in the other. The wound remains part of your story, but it no longer has to be the only voice interpreting it. And as memory begins to serve life, one final tension remains. The next step is learning how to hope boldly without attaching my faithfulness to a prediction, a deadline, or one demanded form. My beloved child, I know you are tired of promises tied to a clock. You have heard that everything must change today, within a certain number of hours, or through one dramatic event. You waited. You watched. And when the appointed moment passed without the promised reversal, disappointment whispered that either your faith had failed or I had failed you. Neither is true. Prediction claims to know the date, the form, and the path. Mature hope does not pretend to possess that knowledge. Mature hope says, even when tomorrow remains hidden, I am not abandoned. Even when I cannot see the road, my Father is still near. Beloved one, breakthroughs are not always loud. Hope may first appear as clarity after months of confusion. It may be courage for one necessary conversation, strength to rise from bed, wisdom to set a boundary, or humility to accept help. Sometimes the mercy is peace sufficient for the next step, not because every circumstance has changed, but because fear no longer controls every breath. Pray this with open hands. Father, close the paths I am pursuing from panic. Open the paths aligned with wisdom. When I need to move, give me courage. When I need to wait, give me peace. When I need to release what no longer belongs, give me firmness without guilt. My child, hope does not require you to call every delay preparation. It does not require you to call every loss protection. Some mysteries remain mysteries. Some questions do not receive explanations that satisfy the heart. But unanswered questions do not make present mercy impossible. I may be working in the identity suffering distorted. I may be teaching you boundaries that protect truth and peace. I may be restoring your capacity to receive love, serve meaningfully, or imagine a future that your old map could never have shown you. Newness may begin within before it becomes visible around you. Now, identify the rigid demand you have been carrying. Is it an exact date? One particular person? One specific version of healing? Is it the belief that life can only be good if it resembles the past? Name it. Loosen your grip. Place it in my hands. Say this slowly. Father, I will ask with honesty, hope without demanding, and trust without pretending to know the form of tomorrow. Again, Father, I will ask with honesty, hope without demanding, and trust without pretending to know the form of tomorrow. The night is real, beloved, but it is not the whole horizon. The old road ended, but I am not limited to the old road. Do not demand a spectacle before receiving grace. Receive today's bread. Answer today's responsibility. Accept today's help. Let today's mercy be enough for this moment. You do not need tomorrow's map to take today's faithful step. And now, my child, we can gather everything you have carried, the loss, the lament, the memory, and this open-handed hope, and finally name the breakthrough that does not require your past to return. My beloved child, we began with a question. What happens when what you lost cannot return? Here is the answer. Breakthrough may not be the restoration of yesterday. It may be your growing ability to carry love and sorrow together without allowing either to imprison tomorrow. You have named what ended. You have learned that acceptance is not defeat and lament is not rebellion. You have discovered that restoration is deeper than replacement, that healing does not betray what mattered, and that a returning wave of grief does not erase your progress. You have given memory a life-giving form, and you have released hope from clocks, predictions, and demanded outcomes. Now hear me clearly. I have not confused your acceptance with unbelief. I have not mistaken your tears for weakness. I have not asked you to forget before you live again. I am restoring something deeper than the former arrangement. I am nurturing peace that does not depend on perfect circumstances. I am rebuilding an identity no longer governed by what was taken. I am giving you courage for tomorrow and teaching your heart to receive joy without immediately fearing its disappearance. Open your hands, beloved one. Picture what you have carried, the person, the year, the relationship, the dream, the place, the ability, or the former version of yourself. Place it into my care. You are not discarding it. You are not declaring it unimportant. You are releasing the demand to carry its entire weight alone. Say this slowly. Father, honor what I have loved. Heal what loss has wounded. Release me from the need to return. Lead me into the life that can still become beautiful. Pause. Let your hands remain open. Future joy will not cancel past love. A new relationship will not replace an irreplaceable person. A changed body can still hold dignity, purpose, and tenderness. A life that looks different from the one you planned can still become whole. Now choose one memory to honor. Choose one burden to share with a trustworthy person. Choose one faithful step toward the life in front of you. Make the call. Prepare the meal. Take the walk. Accept the help. Open the curtains. Let one small act tell your heart, I am still here, and my story is still being written. When you are ready, allow the compassion formed through grief to become shelter for someone else. Sit with the weary. Listen without rushing. Speak gently to the person whose pain has made simple things difficult. You do not have to turn your wound into a performance. Let your presence become a safe place. This is the breakthrough, my child. Not forgetting, not replacing, not returning. It is living truthfully with sorrow, faithfully with memory, and hopefully with the future. When these words stop, my presence remains. Tomorrow does not ask you to forget yesterday. It asks only that you receive enough grace to enter it. Keep your hands open. Breathe. You are loved. And you do not carry this alone.